many people. I don't know what the fuck that opening is. Welcome to the channel. I'm the self-proclaimed Blue Dragon, and I need some light so I can read my notes. I'm gonna open my curtains a little bit that you can't see. Maybe you can hear. I don't know. It's crazy. I'm recording this in December, but this is not going to post until early January. Welcome to the channel, if I didn't already say that. This is the year in review. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. People who aren't used to this channel are probably confused on what the fuck's going on. On this channel, which is targeted at an adult audience, we talk about art projects. Primarily, I like to talk about my free Not Safe for Work webcomic, Dark Horse, links down in the description. Every year, I've started this trend of making resolution videos, but also going back and reviewing my previous year's goals and seeing which ones I achieved and which ones I didn't. Every time I think of that, I think of that Camelot song. Let's see if you'll achieve them. I'm sorry. I like Vanessa Redgrave. Anyway, so yeah, this is the first video of January 2022. All those twos. I do these videos as a way to help myself keep organized, guide myself where I want to go, what I want to get done, what I want to actually complete. And I also do these videos, while they're probably not too particularly interesting for, the viewer, I do them because, at least from my experience, it was viewing and listening to somebody else's video on resolutions that inspired me to do these videos. And having been inspired, I have actually been conscious of what my goals are throughout the year and actually have gotten quite a bit done as a result of that. So my hope is that, maybe me talking about this, it inspires myself, but hopefully it'll also inspire you if you have a lot of things that you want to get done, but you don't necessarily figure out where a good starting point is. Maybe it'll give you an idea of how to get organized or how to at least set goals for yourself. I also want to make one thing very clear at the get-go of this video, that when I don't achieve a goal, I don't beat myself up about it. It's not always about the short term. Even in the greater scheme of things, a year it's long, but it's short. So there's a lot of leeway. But in the short term, if I don't achieve a goal by the end of the year, I don't think it's healthy. It's not helpful to beat myself up about it. And I would also suggest the same to others. I know I can't really have much influence over how people feel, but taking it from my own personal point of view, I've beaten myself up about things in the past and gotten real upset, and all it does is make me feel like shit and demotivates me so that I get even less done. So by changing my attitude towards whether or not I complete a goal, I found that I actually am far more productive and better at keeping motivated and getting shit done, if that makes sense. So I want to make it clear that while I make these lists, I'm going to be pretty lighthearted when I don't achieve a goal, especially since this past year, 2021, for us was almost harder than 2020. It was harder for us because there were a lot of personal, really heavy, bad, negative events that took place in 2021, and a lot of events that kind of stalled my progress. Just life happens. And so I'm coming at this like, all this other shit in the peripheral and in the foreground, all this stuff was going on. And so the fact that I didn't get everything done is not that big of a deal to me. I'm happy that I got anything done. So with that, just to kind of lay out how I personally organize my goals, I don't share my personal life goals on these videos. Nobody cares. And I'm not a lifestyle channel. So my categories are Dark Horse comic book goals. Dark Horse is my free Not Safe for Work webcomic. Links down in the description. The second category is community goals. The third category, general art goals. And the fourth category are YouTube and video goals. I'm going to list off what I had set out to achieve in 2021. I'm going to say what I did and didn't achieve, and then I might expand a little bit and add some additional information on what those are. So let's go ahead and get right into these categories. Dark Horse comic goals, which Dark Horse is part of the Crystal Lotus Chronicles, by the way. If you go to my website and see that, that's what that's about. First goal was finish scripting Dark Horse. Finish getting all the way to the end with my scripts, essentially. I did not achieve that. I put this on the list every year, fully aware that I'm not going to get it done, because it helps get me in the mindset to not be upset that I haven't achieved something, because I see what this goal is and how monumentally daunting it is, and I realize from the get-go it's okay if I don't get this done. So it kind of is like kind of mentally preparing myself for that, right? The second goal under that category was to edit Acts 4 and 5 and prepare them for print. Preparing my digital pages for print is something that I keep in mind when I do the original pages. I actually work, when I have pages that expand to the bleed, I make sure that the page size is appropriate for when I put it into the InDesign document, because a lot, if I don't do that, it's even more work when I get ready to print my comic. So that's kind of what this goal is about. I did not complete editing those acts in 2021, just because there were more prescient matters to deal with, more important matters to deal with. But I have high hopes for next year. I was able to finally get Act 3 printed. I had prepared it. I successfully prepared that last year, Act 3. I just didn't get it printed until this year. The next one is complete Acts 5, 6, and 7 of the revamp. Yes, I did that. For those of you who are new viewers, the revamp, that's just my shortened way of saying I am redoing all of the old pages back from college and, 2015 too. I was already out of college by then. But there's a lot of old pages. Some of them read right to left because I was under the impression that since it was manga inspired, I should make my comic read like a manga. However, with the help of some constructive criticism from someone who was in the Comic Fury community, it was unsolicited. I've talked about criticism before. I don't really like... I understand why people don't like unsolicited criticism, but I myself, having been bashed my entire life by society, I tend to not really give a shit anymore. I had a family that really lifted me up, so even though I've always been kind of an outsider, hearing opinions of other people does not, bother me usually. I mean, it does, and then I get the fuck over it. But the point is, the criticism was that, why am I doing it this way when I clearly don't even have a command of storytelling in my native way of working? And the other question that the person had asked is, were you planning on having this published in Japan? Is that why I was doing it? And the answer was no. And so while I do think it's fine if you are an American artist, if you're inspired to create your manga to read right to left, to be more authentic, to make, because it's something that you like, or maybe you feel, because, us in the community, we are used to reading manga from right to left. It makes more sense to read the stuff coming from Japan in its native style. If that's something that you want to emulate, I don't look down on that. I don't think people are weebs for doing that. However, because this person had brought that up, and I'm really glad that he did, he made me think, and actually question, why am I doing this? And is it helping my audience at all understand the story? And it helped me come to the conclusion that I need to really master storytelling in my own native writing style from left to right before I could ever even dream of tackling another culture's just written natural writing style. It's not even like they do it. I mean, it's natural for them. It's backward thinking for me. And so while it's important to be able to flip things back and forth, to make sure that your stuff's proportional, I took that advice to heart, and that's kind of expanding a little bit on why I have even started the Dark Horse revamp. That's not even considering like the poorly drawn, art and the unnecessary, not really comedic, but comedic to me at the time, story bits. I've been trying to clean things up, shorten things up, work on pacing and things like that. So that's what the revamp is about. And so therefore on this list, because I've been working on 2 different acts, the redoing of the old art and the progressing of the story, which is taking place on Comic Fury and not my main Crystal Lotus Chronicles website. It's a lot of extra work, and so my goal, putting acts 5, 6, and 7 on this list, was to help catch me up to the pages that I'm happy with, so that I'm not having to do much more than editing some of the pages in the current act, in the incarnation that it's at now. I know that sounds very complicated, and I tried to make it as succinct as possible, but suffice to say, the revamp is just me redoing old pages, and setting this goal was to make me catch up so that I'm not working on 2 acts at the same time. That's the too long didn't read version. But I completed it, and not only did I complete Act 7, but I also completed Act 8 of the revamp, which is the start of Volume 2. So I actually achieved 2 goals in one. I completely finished Volume 1, which is comprised of 7 acts, and I started Volume 2, so I consider that a major achievement. The next goal, we're moving along, the next goal was complete and catch up with where we're at on Comic Fury, which I just explained that a minute ago. No, I did not do that. However, I had put myself in a good position to complete that goal in 2022, so I'm not mad about not doing that. I'm not mad about not completing that goal. Next up is update the cast page. Yes, I didn't do a lot to update it, but I did add 2 characters. So maybe 3 characters. I can't remember, but yes, I updated the cast page on my main website, and I am happy for having done so. That wraps up the Dark Horse personal webcomic goals for my comic. We're moving on to community goals that I set out for myself. And I just want to say, I think having community goals is a fantastic way to network, to get to know people in the community, to find online friends. But also, I think while most of these that I'm going to talk about are online, I think it is imperative for human beings who are social creatures to safely make personal reality connections. Now, clearly, we're in the middle of a pandemic, and I don't suggest getting on top of people and breathing on one another. However, outdoor events seem to be fairly safe, and also I just like being outdoors anyway. I've always been a nature's girl. I've done several videos on YouTube about how important the natural world is to me for several reasons. There's spiritual reasons, there's just environmental reasons, mental health reasons. I think it's very important to preserve our national treasures. So outdoor kind of mingling, as long as you're not too close to each other, I think you're pretty good. I think that's fairly safe. So that's kind of what I'm talking about here. So let's jump right into the community goals, because I think it's important to make those connections online and in reality. Number 1, I wanted to do 2 to 3 crossover exchanges. And crossover exchanges, for those who don't know, is when 2 webcomics or 2 comic books, I'm specifically talking about webcomics, they do crossovers with their characters. And a lot of these are organized on the community board in the Comic Fury forum. So there's other ways of doing this. I also did a crossover exchange with the Aradia Magical Girl Collective. So yeah, I actually achieved this goal. I did 2 to 3. The first one I did was the Valentine's Day crossover. I don't want to get into details, but mine ended up not being posted because of a miscommunication between the 3 parties involved, the person coordinating it, the person whose comic I was assigned, and myself. And it ended up that the person whose comic it was didn't want it posted because of the wrong character. But I did complete it, and I'm going to be blacking out their character and posting those pages in my gallery eventually. Because I did put forth the work. I had some people who read it comment that they thought it was really funny and they enjoyed it, and they were kind of pissed off that it was taken down. But I respect the author's request to not have my pages posted. I didn't disrespect the character. They just wanted a different character used, so it's fine. I don't have hard feelings over it. The other one I did was the Halloween crossover exchange, which I do every year. I didn't do the Christmas exchange on Comic Fury or the holiday exchange on Comic Fury just because it's too much. But I did sign up for the Secret Santa on the Aradia Magical Girl Collective, so that was fun. I always like participating. This is my sophomore year participating in that. I also, in addition to the crossover exchange, participated in a Magical Girl online convention panel with fellow members from the Aradia Collective that was put on by the Webcomics Library. So I thank both of those groups for allowing me to participate. And then I also participated in the Aradia fashion book. I don't know the title yet. I will have known after this is recorded, but I'm trying to knock out my videos for January as fast as I can. That was a really fun project, and if you're on YouTube, you saw me make 3 videos of that. If you're watching this on BitChute, I'm sorry. I may get around to uploading them here, but yeah, we'll have to see. I don't want to like overload the video platform with a bunch of old stuff, if that makes sense. But yeah, I participated in a lot of projects, and I'm happy for having done that. The next goal was promote indie comics on social media. Yes, I achieved this. I did it on Twitter, a little bit on Facebook. When I am not on Facebook personally anymore. My account's still there. I still get into it because I've had an old account that hackers have gotten into, and I've had to deal with that bullshit. So I keep it open, but I really am not there personally because Facebook is creepy as fuck. They track everything you do. People are so not concerned with private companies knowing every time you take a shit, but I digress. I still have a business page over on Facebook, so I promoted some comics there, primarily with Comic Fury Zine, which I'll get to in a minute. And I also did a little bit of promoting on Instagram, but I am stupid as fuck, and as much as I use technology, I really hate it. I really do. I feel like our society is breaking down a lot in part because of all the social media garbage and how everyone's able to just say whatever bullshit they want, whether they know what they're talking about or not. So I think that's been a major problem. However, I still also recognize that, especially with the quarantines, it's important to use social media. So I used Instagram a bit, and I tried to promote community stuff there a little bit, but I primarily post my own art. But I achieved that goal. I had on here to be more active on the forums. I achieved that. I don't need to get into detail about that. I also joined a couple Discord servers. I'm not very active, but I occasionally pop in and say shit, so I'm gonna say yes, but I need to improve on that. Comic Fury Zine improvements was on the list. Comic Fury Zine is a community project. If you're on BitChute, I will definitely be uploading the Comic Fury Zine videos. Just give me some time, please. Comic Fury Zine is made by Comic Fury independent artists, and it's for us and readers. And so it's important for me because networking is extremely important. We spearheaded this project in 2020, and the zine just keeps getting better and better. I took some design courses so that I could improve my portion of the zine, which is laying everything out. And also part of this is working on promotion, which I promoted on Reddit, I promoted on Twitter, I promoted it on Instagram. So I feel like I achieved this goal, but hey, we need to get the word out. If you like independent comics, if you like little to no censorship, we have a Not Safe for Work zine, and we're not biased on who we take. The only thing we don't allow is like obvious hate speech, but we're pretty open as long as it's safe for work, or if it's in the Not Safe for Work zine, we kind of are hands off. We don't really give that much of a shit in the Not Safe for Work zine, so as long as you're not breaking the law. So that's about Comic Fury zine. We also worked on the website and created the Comic Fury After Dark to keep the Not Safe for Work content separated from the Safe for Work, so that, kids with their parents' permission could probably read Comic Fury Zine, that website, but we do not want kids on the After Dark because it's a free-for-all. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not going to sing. I'm so sorry. The last thing that I wanted to mention on community goals, I didn't have this set at the beginning of the year, but I did participate in 2 outdoor markets. Things went pretty well there. And I also went to a couple comic book stores, but I decided to only drop off Dark Horse at one of those. So I got out into my local community and I did that. I have some goals for next year, but I'll share that in next week's video. Yeah, so I did do some community stuff too. General art goals is the next category. I'm not going to expand too much on this. I'm just going to say I had it on here to self-educate and grow my skills. I did so by participating in online trainings, both with design and some other videos, like learning how to do a beta flash, learning how to screen tone. I'll talk about that in a minute. And I also purchased Alfonso Dunn's pen and ink drawing. I want to get his workbook because I read through this book and I started actually practicing his sets of practice tasks. I got up to chapter 3 with that. I think I got through chapter 3 with that. And holy hell, you can really fucking tell how much my inking, the control over my pen, how much I've learned. I highly recommend Alfonso Dunn's book. It's very clear cut. It's very easy to understand. And if you want to improve your inking skills, I definitely recommend it. So yeah, I did work on some self-education. I also bought a Franzetta book that I want to do an unboxing of because I want to look at some of his art and see if I can improve on my skill by doing some copies of them. I've talked about copies on YouTube, I think, before when I was discussing references. Copying is different than tracing or claiming something as your own. It's something that people have done in the art community for a very long time, but it's only just recently gotten to be even a controversy whatsoever. While I think that it's fine to be self-taught, and for the most part a lot of my stuff is self-taught, I think it's also important to know that, you know, the old masters got to be where they are by copying other people's art. They didn't get to do their own thing until they studied under someone, because it was considered like just a craft, a job like carpentry back in the day. So I've talked about that before, maybe not in quite that much detail, but I would like to copy some of Franzetta's work. I'll never be as good as he was, but I love how well he crafts and how much he does with pen and ink. So I bought that book from their estate. I think his wife is still alive. He has since passed away. But I also like to support the artists. I like to support people, even though he's very well known. I think it's important to try to support local and buy from the actual artist rather than on Amazon or some garbage like that. So getting into the next one, improving ink skills, techniques, control. I already covered that. Yes, I think I've improved a bit. I still have a long way to go, but it's a start and I'm happy with the progress I've made. The next goal was working on backgrounds, setting the scene, and forcing myself to work on perspective. I definitely did, and you can tell I've been working on the backgrounds. They're better than they've been. I still have a lot again to go, but I'm happy with the progress I made, and I will continue to improve on that. I had on here also to start thinking about composition. That is going to be my main focus in 2022, but I've been trying to keep composition in mind. There's a lot more I need to do, and I'm thinking in 2022 I'm going to be rereading Full Metal Alchemist, which is one of the most influential manga I've ever read. I've got Sailor Moon at the top of the list. I've got some Clamp up there, Rigveda. I would put Full Metal Alchemist as number 3, my favorite manga series of all time. It's just fantastic, and I really need to do an entire video on it with the Dark Horse Origins series. I might need to do a 2 or 3 part video on it, but I've started thinking about it, and with thinking about it, I've started making plans for how I'm going to tackle improving on composition. I'm going to probably look for some courses, look at some of the people that I find inspirational, and kind of go from there. Dovetailing on that, I want to improve on my action scenes. I didn't have too many, but I think what I did look okay, but I need to definitely do more work on my action scenes. Next on the list was try screen tones, real ones. Yes, I did. I did a little image of Joy Fong, who is a character who has not been introduced yet, but I'm super excited for her to be in the comic. And because I love drawing her, she's got glorious long hair that she always styles in different fancy ways, so I did a little image of her and I did a video on it on YouTube. At some point, maybe I'll upload it to BitChute. I hope to do that, but those are 2022 goals, so I'll worry about that later. I had on here also to try Manga Studio, which is the older version of Clip Art Studio that I got discounted at Barnes & Noble years ago, long before they ever renamed it Clip Art Studio. We got it installed on my computer. I have not tried it yet. So no. And then one last thing that I want to mention regarding art goals, going back to the ink skills and techniques, not only did I work on making patterns and patching and things like that, but something that had been inducing anxiety in me for over a decade was trying to figure out how to do a beta flash and how to do flashes. And I actually did a beta flash. I think I did a beta. Well, maybe it wasn't a beta flash. I'll put up what those are for those of you who don't know the lingo. I did a regular flash all by myself by watching tutorials, both of some mangaka that were subtitled in English, but also I checked out some American artist channels so that I could, listen to what they had to say about it. So Western style, I should say, but they were U.S. citizens, I think. So yeah, I did quite a bit with the general art goals. I'm happy with where I am. Still have a lot of progress to do, but I'm happy with what I achieved this year. Then the last category, we're almost there. The last category is, YouTube, my YouTube channel, my video goals. So I was pissed off at YouTube for a variety of reasons, including what happened after the FTC rightfully sued YouTube. I agree with that. I just am pissed at YouTube for passing the buck on to creators when they were the ones clearly profiting off of that. I'm not going to get into the history of it. You can look it up yourselves. And I also got pissed at them again when they changed their terms of service to, even if you are a small channel and are not qualified to be part of their monetization program, they changed their terms of service so that they could put commercials, ads, on your content. And if your video goes viral, they will make money off of you, whereas you are not allowed to make money off those ads. And that pissed me off too, because one, I don't like ads. I don't like advertising. I hate this dystopic future we're living in where everything has a billion fucking ads for garbage. It pisses me off. So uBlock is a thing, but also it pissed me off in that they're profiting off of other people's work without giving them a share of it. Now, obviously, this doesn't affect me because I'm an extremely small channel and there's no way I'm ever going viral. I intentionally cuss like a sailor. I speak my mind, and I know that I'm not going to really get in their algorithm. And I like it that way, to be quite honest, because I like connecting with a smaller pool. I get a little nervous with a larger pool. But at the same time, because I am morally against that, I got pissed off at YouTube, and that's why I started my BitChute channel. That's the short of it. There's a lot more to it than that, and I did 2 videos on it, one of which I had to take down because of some copyright garbage with music, which I didn't feel like fighting, even though the music was in the Creative Commons and I was in the right to use it. I didn't feel like messing with it. I'm going to be re-uploading it at some point, but at any rate, I did 2 videos on it, and I don't need to go any further into it. But as a result, I had on my list to not just keep uploading to YouTube, but to start a mirror site. At the time, I didn't know where I was going to mirror. I thought maybe Dailymotion, but they are, whoa, very confusing. And I decided to go with BitChute instead. I don't know if I regret it yet. We'll find out. I may be closing my BitChute account. We'll see. But yeah, I did achieve that goal, both of those goals. And then I had down here, work on editing, work on getting a buffer of videos, be more entertaining. I've worked on my editing. I still need to improve. My camera quality is quite often shit, and I'm sorry for that. I know it's shit. But we just aren't at a point where I can invest a lot of money in cameras and shit. So I've been working on editing, trying to make things more entertaining. It's all subjective, so what I find entertaining, I don't know if it's entertaining to y'all. I'm sorry if it's not, but I'm doing the best I can. buffer. I've had buffers on and off, but life happened, and I did actually end up having to skip 2 Wednesdays in the middle of the year, which was tied into that bullshit with the Creative Commons, the guy getting a record deal, and even though his shit was on Creative Commons, I'm getting into it. I need to not. Okay, I'm not going to talk about it. He basically did something illegal. So, be more entertaining? I don't know. I don't know if I'm entertaining. Probably not, but I hope I am. Last thing was to do challenges and top 10s, and aside from the screen tone challenge and challenging myself with the beta flash, I didn't really do much of that this year. I need to, but nope, didn't achieve that one. Top 10s, top 5s, nope. Hopefully I'll be able to do that this year because I love talking about independent comics, and as I've mentioned before, I think it's important to uplift and support people in the community and share amazing fucking comics with other people that are more underground. And the final thing I do before we close this really excruciatingly long video, I like to do a little recap on how many videos I actually achieved or how many I got done this year. So last year I did 52 Wednesday videos. I only missed 1 Wednesday video last year. And including the Friday night videos, I actually had done a total of 58. 2021 was a much harder year, but at the same time, I actually did 51 Wednesday videos. I only missed 2. There were a couple in the middle of the year that I mentioned. And I did 4 Friday night videos. But I also did 1 extra video, which was the advertisement of Dark Horse with the music by Thomas Nelson. It was gifted to me in 2020 as the Aradia Secret Santa. And it was the first video that I uploaded on BitChute, and it was a video that I uploaded on YouTube as well. So I did a total of 56 videos, which is only 3 less than last year. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. And with me, it's not even about quality. So, I'm keeping it real. I'm very self-aware, y'all. But I hope you all enjoyed the videos anyway. And hey, I thank you. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for listening in. I hope that, you know, something that I said maybe jogs your inspiration or gives you an idea, maybe something that you want to do. Down in the comments, let me know if there were some goals that you set out for yourself that you were really proud to achieve. I like to keep the positivity going. There's so much that's negative and bad in the world, and while we need to keep those things in mind, I think it's also very important to counteract some of that with positivity. So please let me know what you're proud of achieving in 2021 down in the description. And that's all I have to say for this video. I think next week will be a little shorter because I will not have anything to report on. I'm just gonna be talking about what my goals are so that I can review this at the end of 2022. So thank you all for watching. If you like what I do, if you find some value in it, you know, there's subscription links, one-time donation stuff, all that shit's down in the description. Otherwise, you can subscribe, do whatever things you need to do to get the messages. I don't know. Do that if you want. If you don't want, that's fine too, because as Stephen Still said, I'm not the one to tell you what to do. I have no desire to run your life. And I wish a lot more of us lived our lives that way. So peace and love, fare you well, and keep on trucking.